calling the Starkville Social Security Office.
Your call is important to us. You can do many things online at SSA.gov, like apply for benefits. Also, with a personal My Social Security account, you can get an instant benefit verification letter, check the status of your application, and most people can request a replacement Social Security card. We also offer services by phone at 1-800-772-1213. And in-person service is available in our offices. While most offices can help you without an appointment, a few offices are closed or open by appointment only. Find out which offices are closed or open by appointment only by visiting ssa.gov/emergency. We always encourage you to make an appointment, as this will help us plan for you. At this time, masks are required in all of our offices. We will provide a mask if you do not have one. Please take a moment to provide feedback about your service experience at ssa.gov/feedback. For information about fraud,
press or say 1. To continue with your call, press or say 2. To hear these options again, press or say. To ensure that you receive accurate and courteous service, your call may be monitored or recorded. Please listen to all options carefully. Our menu has recently changed. To hear field office hours and directions, press or say 4. To dial your party's extension, press or say 5. To speak to the next available agent, press or say 0. To hear these options again, press or say 9. Please hold.
Miss Tillman?
Hello,
Is this Miss Hillman?
I can.
I said, is this Miss Hillman?
Oh, yes, this is she.
Hi, Zori Rush.
Hi, how are you?
Let's not get into that. So what's up?
What can I do? What can I do for you?
I never heard from anyone. Did you tell someone to call me or something?
I haven't found an answer to your to all the questions yet.
Who has
But I
them?
do have.
I can ask them. I can ask them myself. Who has them?
Who has answers?
Yes, ma'am. Doesn't someone have jurisdiction over the claims folder at this very moment as we speak?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I
So
do
someone,
have an answer to that specific question. I do have an answer for that one now. So, as far as that goes, actually the whole agency, the Social Security Administration actually has, technically has jurisdiction. But now, I believe that you mentioned having a hearing. So now, if you have a hearing, the hearing office would actually be who you would need to request a copy of your folder for you.
okay, have they been sent the claim? Are you telling me this because you know that they have been sent the claim? I know how the procedure works, ma'am. If you just so I could help you a little bit, I am the person who sued the Social Security Administration, and the Social Security Administration lost because I knew the rules that how they work. So right now I'm trying to, because you still have the false records in my name, I'm just trying to get you to tell me what's in the records so I can know who actually who's in charge of correcting the falsehoods. You're not telling me that. You're just telling me what the procedures are.
Where the folder is, that you have to have jurisdiction over it. So the Social Security, like the whole administration, actually.
Yeah, again, ma'am, I sued the whole Social Security Administration and won. So I know how that works. I know that you have a claim at the Social Security Administration that a judge has told you to correct, and I also know you haven't corrected it. I'm asking because there is a claim that was filed to, again, request that you correct the records that are filed in my name. That's being processed from your Baltimore Processing Center. I spoke to you about notices mailed the 12th, 21st, and the 27th. I requested that you contact me back to tell me who has jurisdiction over processing that claims folder because they're processing it as an overpayment appeal when I actually filed appeals under Section 1632 and Section 507 of the Act. So that needs to be corrected so it's reviewed as a false claim action and a privacy right action. Do you remember that?
I do. And
All right. Well, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Miss Hillman. Let me ask you a question, Miss Hillman. Since the whole Social Security Administration has jurisdiction over my claims folder, who is liable for processing the claims folder as it is while I am on the phone telling you there's information in it that needs to be corrected? Who's liable for that?
I wasn't told what information to correct, and I don't have.
Ma'am, I just said it to you. Someone is processing the claim that I filed to say all the Social Security Administration records are false. Someone's processing that as an overpayment. I never filed that. I also requested a copy of the claims folder so I can see myself who's writing that down.
Right, and I just told you, sir, that I passed along the questions, and that's why
I understand that, ma'am, and I already asked you who does. I can ask the questions myself. If you're not able to, I can. I've sued the Social Security. I've already sued the Social Security Administration and won. So if you're not able to do the job, let me get on the phone with whoever is putting the information into the system.
the only information that is submitted to.
Ma'am, did you just explain to me you don't have any of the answers to my questions?
From every folder that I've ever.
All right,
received,
okay. Who does have the answers? Who does? Who's working the claims folder?
You said that you had.
Not what I said, ma'am. What does your system say that who is working the claims folder?
Let me look and take a look. What is your claim under?
What's what?
One second. A moment. If you had filed for a hearing, what name was the hearing?
Ma'am, again, I sued the Social Security Administration and won. I cannot explain why you're having a difficult time. I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for the person who's writing false information into my records. Right now, I'm getting you to identify that individual. So can you please just do that? Thank you.
I don't know an individual.
Whoever it is that's processing the claims folder, ma'am, that's who it is. You don't have to tell me. I know because I've sued. I won. Have you ever sued and won a case against the Social Security Administration?
I don't.
I have. I have. I sued the Social Security Administration and a judge ordered you to correct my records. Someone in your office is not doing that. I understand you don't know who that is, but if you look at the claims folder and see who's processing it, I'll know who it is.
I don't think that it's even
Are
here.
you not going to answer my? Is there anyone else in your office that I can ask this question to?
I don't believe anyone in this office has an answer to that question, sir.
Okay, well, let's find out.
The only information
I
is
understand, ma'am. I
from the
understand you
boss.
don't have any information. That's why I need to speak to someone other than Mrs. Hillman. Anyone other than you will be fine. Just so that we're clear, right now we have identified you as the individual who is maintaining the false records in my name, while I tell you I'm calling to correct them. That would be you now, until you get someone else on the phone.
That's fine.
I know it.
I'll
Of
pass
course
along
it
the
is. Of
information.
course it is, ma'am. I'm not talking to you. I'm waiting to speak to someone else. Anyone else.
Yes, sir. I'll try to transfer you
Thank
now.
you.
I'll see who's available. I'm going to place you on a short hold. Please hold on. I'll see who may have it. Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
I'm going to place you on a short hold. Please while I try to find someone who may have an answer for you.
All right. Make sure you tell them it's Zori Rush on the phone, and yes, I am still recording you.
Absolutely. No problem at all.
All right. All right.
I'm about to transfer you now to our supervisor, and hopefully she can help answer some questions for you.
Uh-huh.
Okay, sir?
I'm here.
Okay. I'm going to transfer you now to our supervisor. Hopefully she can assist you and try to find some information for you.
Mm-hmm.
This is Miss Crowley. I'm help you.
I didn't hear your name. I'm sorry.
This is Miss Crowley.
Miss Crawley. We've spoken before. Zori Rush, how are you?
Yeah, I remember you. I remember you talking to you.
Miss Crawley, let me tell you, Miss Crawley. Do you remember when we first met? I bet
I
you
do.
don't. You do?
I do. I really do. Yeah.
There is absolutely no way you remember that.
I remember you because you made an impression on me. I remember
remember you because
I remember you getting emotional, and I remember me having to tell you I do not have time for that. I got people dying on me right now. We just need to get this done so I can get out this door and get back to these people. I don't have time for pity. You almost made me cry that day. And I
Yeah,
get,
I got goosebumps thinking about it right now.
don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it, because it's what's bothering me more than anything is that you are still in that office, and I have not had medical treatment that has been consistent since I met you.
Okay.
And I am fully aware that Carolyn, Karen, John Jackson, and James Christopher Blackwell have had meetings with the employees in the Starkville and Columbus office to prevent the report that you made that day from being processed as the fraud I reported. Do you remember how upset I was that somebody had stopped my critical payments from being processed while I was laying in a house thinking I was dying? Do you remember how upset I was about that?
Yes, I do. I do.
I cannot, I don't want to go back and forth over this. Right now, is James Blackwell still the manager there?
Yes, he's a manager right now.
Okay, well, I already have 2 police reports, civil rights complaint at the Department of Justice, and Office of Inspector General reports, and file Form 1133 for a forgery determination by the Treasury Department that clearly shows that those records in your office in my name are false. I filed a suit in a federal court that told this office to change my records. Still didn't do it. Appeals counsel sent a letter, said the file is missing, that I've been saying that the application that I filed still isn't in my case file. It's some file from the guy that you and I said had committed fraud. That's not hasn't been fixed. Now I'm getting letters from Baltimore about processing a appeal I filed online. Now Miss Hillman's been hired. Now I'm back to you. Now Miss Hillman's been hired, and Miss Hillman has been hired to say, I don't know anything about any of this, but I know personally, and I have a line of YouTube videos here to prove it, that John Jackson, James Blackwell, Carolyn Poston, and Karen Denton have had meetings with their employees advising them to maintain false records in the name Zori Rush. Now, all I want to know today is who has jurisdiction over the claims folder that are sending the notices from Baltimore so I can find out currently who's entering those false records on this claim. Because I plan on sending, you and I are the only people involved in this transaction that does not look like they're headed to jail. You and me.
Okay. I was trying to see, I want to make sure I'm understanding what you're asking for.
Baltimore's, they have an appeal of a notice from the 21st and the 27th. I kind of messed up, and apparently, when they do those overpayment appeals, they send those 2 different type of notices. One's a notice and one's an explanation of the notice. Well, I got those thinking that they were coming about 2 separate things, and I appealed both of those. But the issue on both of them are the same. I got a notice that says that it's at the administrative law judge level, and I appeal that. But I don't know which administrative law judge office is going to have jurisdiction, since I have just accused the entire state of Mississippi of knowingly having a false record in my name.
Oh, like your stuff says went to the hearings office in Tupelo.
It's there now.
Yeah, it's been sent to the hearings office in Tupelo.
Can you tell me who processed that claims folder?
Okay, so your appeal, it came here. So we got it. I remember seeing you had an appeal. It was signed out to a claim specialist that processed everything. She processed it here in our office.
By
That
whom?
was, that was Miss Neely that did the processing of your appeal that you just had.
Hold on 1 second. Miss Neely? You said it's Miss Neely?
All she did was take your information that you sent and sent it to the hearing.
Okay, well this let me show you what I'm looking for then. So this is on the notice. This would be appeal of the notice dated December 27th, 2022.
Okay, let me check. So you were appealing that notice. Okay, December the 27th. Okay. You said December 27th?
Well, that's the notice that I'm looking at. I'm asking is the appeal that's gone to the hearing office? Is that it?
Yeah, she sent it on now. It's not showing yet that she sent it because she just did a couple days ago.
What's a couple of
So-
days ago?
I know she did it this week. They have to receive it in as showing up at the hearing office. It's like they haven't received it in yet. But I see where she did process it and it's in transit right now. That just means they haven't picked it up yet.
Okay, well, I know the spiel. It's also been explained to me that the spiel on critical payment processing is being taught by someone and that you don't actually have access to the program operator. You've been there a while, you know your stuff, so you probably know this. You don't have access to the program operations manual where you can actually see what the public sees. And I have been told repeatedly that the Social Security Administration does not consider a person to be in a critical payment status if they're already receiving benefits. But I submitted evidence to process this case at that claim as critical, whether or not the field office believes it's critical or not. Did she remove that designation, or did she address that request in her forwarding?
Okay, you want us to remove the critical.
It was designated critical. Someone removed the critical case designation, and I don't think you're required to notify me of that. I don't know why, but the Judge Lott placed it back on in 2020, and that issue that he placed it on there has been no decision made on it yet either. And that was back in 2020, and the Social Security Administration has not issued a decision on that.
Okay. I don't see anything about it being critical. Maybe I'm misunderstanding what you're asking for.
Well, when I went online, when I do all, because I can't trust what's happening coming out of that field office. I filled out the critical payment processing form myself and submitted it with my online appeal, which means which means if Ms. Neely processed it and didn't process the critical processing information that I submitted with it, that she removed it or ignored it as though it wasn't there. So either it's there or it's not. And if it's not there, she removed it.
I'm trying to see what happened with it right now. I see. Okay, it's in here. I'm reading what you put on here. What? Okay, let me see your attached file. Looks like you attached some files.
I can't find it.
Attachment. I'm trying to make sure I'm understanding what you're asking for, so I'm sorry. It's my first time really just looking at it.
That one right there was pretty pungent. I mean, let's see.
Okay.
There's a attachment that
I
says
see what you're saying. Okay.
critical payment
Request evaluation. Okay.
critical payment evidence was attached at 2.2 megabytes, and it was a full attachment to why I still meet criteria for critical payment processing. So I didn't get a response, and it looks like if you're telling me that she's sent it there and I didn't get the notice, because you know this statute that I filed under 552A, it only allows the Social Security Administration 10 days to respond to that. It's already been past 10 days. So so is that what she did? She took that out and sent the folder without it?
No. It's in here. Everything's in here. I was just trying to make sure I'm looking at it right for you.
Well, isn't she required in transmitting the folder to say that she has reviewed evidence that says this person requests critical processing for these reasons? Isn't she required to do that in processing the folder?
Yeah, she did that. I'm not
Okay. I thought you were saying that. I thought you were just saying that she just sent this whole packet. Okay, one more question, because I know you, where you are, I don't want to take you away from it. You sound like you playing supervisor role right now, but they need you down on the low totem pole because you really, really helped me out that day. The form that was used to send the claim over, section 15, where the person chooses what the issue is that's being appealed. What's there? What do you have there?
You mean what do I have that you're saying you wanted to appeal?
No, what did Miss Neely say that I wanted to appeal? I know what I want to appeal. It's written. It's clearly written. It's clearly written there. It says here that I'm tired. Basically, it says I am tired of telling the Social Security Administration to correct my records, and this claim is filed under Title 5 USC 552A because they are maintaining false records. That's what mine says. I want to know what hers says.
Okay. Well, let me tell you this now. She cannot say what you are requesting. We allow you to say that, and you put all it in your documentation.
Yeah, but I didn't. You guys use this sheet, this transmission sheet to go from component to component. You might not know this, but I've sued you, so I've delved into your laws pretty well.
Okay.
So I actually won the suit 2 times. I won in the federal court in Oxford and at the appeals council, and they have told the field office to correct the records. And just for clarity, the reason why they are not correcting these records is because they are going. Once they do, I filed a class action claim because I found a computing error in the hearing office by one of the judges that was a chief judge. And that means when they review my case, they're going to actually have to review other cases to find out if that error that judge is making affected other claims folders. And they would have to expand Medicaid, not 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 because the law required it, but because it's a necessity because of all of the injuries that would have been caused by the fraud being processed in that hearing office. And that judge, the reason why the judge ordered that the corrections be made to my record is because the judge refused to hear that class action claim because she knew it would bankrupt Mississippi. And I don't give it, excuse my French, I don't give a damn. I got people over here dying by the hundreds. I don't care if it breaks Mississippi to stop it. I don't care. But okay, so if you could look at that sheet, that transmission sheet that went from your office to the hearing office this week. Section 15, it's either the 10 through 15, down at the bottom over at the right. It has a list of whether it's Title 2, Title 3. And down at the bottom it says others when it asks what are you appealing? What does Miss Neely have checked there? Okay.
Because I honestly don't think we have to check anything. I think we just go by what you claim for. I'm checking.
You haven't been. You haven't been. Every time I file one of these things online, because that's how I always do it, someone at the field office, that's why how I can file the false claim record. Someone at the field office fills out one of those transmission sheets and puts a different issue than what I actually appeal. Every single time. And if I hadn't filed a suit in the federal court, I never would have saw the record that showed me that was what was happening. Because when I asked for the record from the Social Security Administration, they did not send it to me until I sued them in federal court. And that's how I saw Karen Denton did it. Carolyn Poston did it. I mean, they literally took out the online appeal information that I filed and put in different information. Carolyn Poston was so bad, it made, and I hate to say it this way, but it's just the truth for me because I am black. It made black people look bad because she didn't use a professional language to speak to the process. She just basically said, I don't want to do this, and I'm writing this down, and I don't like this guy. And I'm like, who gave you this job?
Right.
And now she's gone, so she can't even be put in a witness stand to say, why did you write that and he wrote this?
Right. Okay, so we have on you that you are disputing the overpayment.
See, that's not true. You see that in there anywhere? You see that what I wrote? What's up there? You see what's up there on that appeal 12/21/22? It don't say that nowhere. It don't say the word overpayment ain't in there nowhere. Now I don't know why Miss Neely would do that. I don't know why she would.
One second.
Go ahead.
And you did. It says, I'm reading what you wrote.
Pursuant to Title 42 CFR.
Or overpayment being charged. So you did. Say
Where
overpayment.
are you reading from?
I'm reading what you put when you file online. It gives us verbatim what you type in.
What does it say?
You talk about the overpayment.
What does it say?
And
Hold on. Wait a minute. It says each payment given or overpayment being charged. And you assume that to mean that I am appealing an overpayment, just a overpayment.
Well, I'm seeing on here that that's what you actually, well, that's one of the things you need to be appealing. I understand.
I know what I need to appeal. I know what I need to appeal. I know what I need to appeal. Let me clarify. Let me just make it clear. That's not factual. What's factual is what needs to be in other. Because I'm not appealing an overpayment. The day we met, I'm appealing the fact that I reported to you that an attorney submitted a fraudulent application in my name and created false casework entries. And the Social Security Administration is maintaining that record. Now let me find that and see.
No.
Well, I'm gonna look at the notice that you're looking at because I don't have it in front of me right now, and I want to make sure that when you read it and when I read it, we both understand it to be saying the same thing. Because I can't get where you're seeing that appeal as just an overpayment appeal. Because it's
Right.
can you explain that to me where you are looking at it and you see that as just an appeal of an overpayment?
Well, I'm looking at your overpayment actually that's on the record. And I looked at what you wrote, and then I looked at your record, and I'm looking at the overpayment. And what you're saying, they filed a false claim. That's what you said.
No, I'm asking you what you are reading. What are you understanding from
Oh,
what you're reading?
okay.
I'm on the phone.
Yeah, I see several things when I'm reading this. Like I said, first, the overpayment stands out because I see that you have one. And then what stands out is you were trying to address the presumptive payments that you got, critical payments back in 2015. You wrote about that. You wrote about the double check negotiation, which is an overpayment. That's an overpayment also. Yeah, and that's really. And you noted here how you signed the 795 and the Form 1133.
Will you do me a favor? Will you do me a favor? Can you read that?
I'll read the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Okay. It says each credit given or overpayment being charged to an SSA waiver awarded by Administrative Law Judge Rebecca Sarters, willful noncompliance with procedures obligates a forgery determination by the Treasury on evidence showing the courtesy disbursement of presumptive payments under the Title 16 from the Starkville office. Critical payment funding allocations obstructed in April of 2015. The agency adjudication process is a futile gesture used in deprivation of benefits entitled through NBR development of onset date 4/30/2007, knowingly awarded by the agency on a double check negotiated for a temporarily unsuspended recovery of the July 2016 payments to a Wells Fargo account, and a week later, reinstated as a suspended recovery under an inapplicable waiver credited to this agency pursuant to 42 U.S. Code 12188A1. In general, nothing in this section shall require a person with a disability to engage in a futile gesture if such person has an actual notice that a person or organization covered by this subchapter does not intend to comply with this provision. SSA 795 and DT Form 1133 are hereby submitted in request for forgery determination on the claimant records by the Treasury. So, I read all that and
Do you see what the original is? Here's my here's my issue. But that is the appeal to the administrative law judge of the appeal that was filed on December the 21st.
Yeah, you have the reconsideration first, and then that you have.
Hold on, wait a minute.
Hearing
Wait a
request.
minute. I don't want to lose my train of thought while I got this in my face. So this the one that you are reading from is an overpayment appeal. So what was the request for reconsideration of?
Let me see. I didn't go back to that.
Well, that's where my reading is coming from. Because as you just read, what I stated was this is the procedure the Social Security Administration was supposed to use when I'm sorry, I forgot your name already. When we perform the notice removing the attorney. These were the procedures, and the Social Security Administration is refusing to follow these procedures, so I have filed a forgery determination myself. That doesn't say that I'm filing an overpayment appeal. That's saying that everything in your records is false. That's what that's saying. When I heard you read it, it's saying to me that I have advised the Social Security Administration that the attorney that filed my application submitted fraudulent information, and the Social Security Administration has not changed it and refused to. That's what that says. But that's not the issue that I originally appealed. That's the argument that I'm making on appeal to the administrative law judge. So I'm trying to find where the original issue is that was being appealed. So we understand that to be from December the 21st, 2022, right? The request for reconsideration. Okay, so how did it go from there to be an overpayment? On an issue of overpayment. So when it goes from request for consideration, someone has the authority to change the issue when it goes to the administrative law judge, or is it supposed to stay at the same level? On the same issue, I mean.
The issue. But what happens is, like when I read it, and when I look at your file, and when I read what you wrote, it doesn't appear that the overpayment is a big issue. So we addressed the overpayment issue, and I don't think.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand you.
That's why I'm glad you're talking to me.
You
today,
missed
so I
me.
can understand.
I misunderstood a word you said. It kind of came together. You said when you looked at it, you understood it to be an overpayment appeal. When you looked at it this first time.
About what I was reading, because when you send the form,
And it does, except for that section at the bottom, which is why I concluded with that, is that it's basically saying if they haven't processed this original that first appeal, if they're not sending me a notice, the notice that I'm getting now does not address the allegations that I made in the first appeal, there's no point in me talking to him anymore. I'm just going to submit the forgery determination myself and say the Social Security Administration did not try to help me catch that guy. And that's what I did. That's what you're looking at is so the issue has been changed. So what was it originally? Because it doesn't give you a lot of options on my Social Security. It just gives you those checkbox whether you say it says which program that you're appealing. So it doesn't give us as many options as it would you guys.
Right. So the issue that I'm seeing, Mr. Rush, is that you got SSI first.
Oh, wait. Now, I want to know the selection in the box. I want to know what's selected in the
That's what I was
box.
explaining to you. There's no box here. They give you the box, but we have to put in what you wrote, and that's what she put in is what you wrote, and then we have to,
What did she put in?
We have to put in what you wrote.
What did she put in?
Check here.
What did she put in?
Exactly what I just read you. She put in what
On
I
the
read.
request for reconsideration, it was what I'm asking about.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
Wait.
all right.
Hold on. I gotta go back and pull that up again.
Okay.
Was that one done online too? I'm sorry, because I'm looking at it.
Well, see make sure we trying to understand make sure you understand what I'm looking for. I filed an appeal on the Social Security Administration keeping false records in my name. That appeal went to the request for reconsideration level. It got to the request for reconsideration level and was unfavorable. So I appealed on that same issue where you are reading from the statements of the general statements that I made regarding the overpayment, but I was still appealing the same issue. So
Okay.
I want to make sure that the issue on the one that was just forwarded to the field office and the one that's on the request for reconsideration are the same thing, or if someone has changed them because they did what you just did, as they saw that and it appeared to be an overpayment appeal.
Okay. Well, so we didn't change anything. But let me tell you this: how you're telling it to me now versus how it's written.
It's not the
I understand what you're saying now. It's not the same.
No. And it's not going to be reviewed like that. And I'm going to tell you why. I've been doing some dig deeping. You're not trained on it. You are not trained on it because the way they have marked me at that hearing office, the only way you would find the method that they are using to steal this money is if I were to die and someone in my family tried to make a claim on it. It's under a program operation manual section for survivor benefits. Like the only way you can get this process where you get this double check negotiations redetermined through forgery determination through the Treasury Department is if you are deceased and your survivors requested, which means if you don't have any survivors requested, guess where that money goes to? Goes right back to your state. They get to keep it. So they place you over in this section for dead bodies and then keep your money after you die. Yeah, it's a real nasty thing. It's real nasty. But I'm black. I'm in Mississippi. I fully expected it. I was not surprised when I found this little mishap. So what
Okay, so I'm looking at I see what you're talking about. Okay, so your reconsideration is saying what you're telling me. I got it. Okay.
Well, I need the appeals, the one that went to the hearing office to say that. I need the one that's going to the hearing office. I am not appealing an overpayment. Now, I'm going to clarify this. I know the procedure that they're going to use, and it is an overpayment procedure, but it's not the same overpayment procedure. This is an overpayment procedure for DCN double check negotiations. So if it's sent in the way that it's being sent right now, they're just going to review it as a regular overpayment appeal and not going to review the issues that I am making about the records being false. So if you could, This needs to be changed to where, at least down there in that section where it says other, it needs to clarify. The notice that I got says that these appeals are being reviewed under, let's see where did it go, under section 1127 and 204, but those aren't mine. That's somebody else doing that. My appeals need to be reviewed under section 1632 and section 507.
Gotcha. I'm gonna get this fixed for you now. Today I'm at home. I did just send myself a note. I'm gonna include this. This is what I was looking for, because this part, I see where you wrote all of it up about having the complaints against, about having the false records. I see where you said it now. And I'm going to include that in your appeal also, your hearing appeal, sorry.
Now, let me ask you this. Where do I get the claims folder so I don't have to, because I can do this myself without us having to do it together.
Well, the claims folder, once the hearings office has it, then you can request the claims folder there.
Yeah, but they are not.
Up-to-date folder at that point.
They are not doing that. They are not doing that. They're not doing the critical. But it ain't just them. Even your office. Nobody's following these rules. That was the biggest heartbreak for me, was to find it, because I lost somebody that was trying to get me to do something with this stuff, and I had no idea that it was this bad and how much work they actually needed me to do until they actually died. So this is hard for me. This is real, real hard for me. And it's somebody I just adored. And I would come in the house sometime. I hate to put you through this again, but I'm stuck here, so you stuck here. I would come in the house sometime, and she would be sitting there, and she had lost her ability to verbalize her emotions or what she was trying to express. But she could scribble real fast, and we had a long relationship, so I could read her face and kind of see what she was saying. And sometimes I could walk in the room and I could tell she had just got off the phone trying to deal with something with the Social Security Administration or Medicare. I could just look at her and tell that's what she was going through. And now I couldn't even go get out this grave and say, okay, I figured it out. Let's do it again. But okay, so how do you can do that internally? How can I wait for you to do that and then get a copy of my claims folder to see whether or not what they are reviewing is what I actually submitted?
Once they receive the claims folder, they will actually send you out something stating that they received your request for an appeal, for a hearing.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, I'm saying appeal, but it's the same thing.
Right.
But you get a notice. It'll say that they received your request for your hearing, and it's going to ask you if you want to review your folder and things of that nature. I'm looking at your folder now. Good grief, it's huge.
Isn't that sad? And what's even worse is two federal courts have looked at it and said throw the whole damn thing out and reconstruct the whole damn thing. Yeah, two courts. The Oxford court looked at the reason why I said the Oxford court didn't just put an end to it then, because when I saw what I saw in my records, I filed a claim on behalf of every Mississippi beneficiary that ever went through that Tupelo hearing office, because you guys are not using SSA form 827 to report 820 to report self-employment income, and you still don't have one on me. And that I know is a crime. And there is no way this state's, not in my lifetime, they're going to have to kill me if they think they're going to get away with not actually report. Because every single one of my appeals state emphatically that my income is not being reported correctly. Every single one of them do.
I got you.
But what is the status of that? Because the last time I talked to James Christopher Blackwell, he didn't even give me a chance to ask. But I have a 827 that was filed and a retroactive disenrollment from Medicare and Medicaid that was filed. I haven't heard back from either one of those. Don't even worry about that. Don't look into that. Tell me about. Don't look at it. Because I know what that is. That's Chris. He's going to jail. I am going to make for sure that that man goes to prison for a very long time. Because while I was waiting on the Social Security Administration to fix this problem, I watched at least 20 people around me die that should not be dead. Don't worry about. I mean, you work for the Social Security Administration. You should hear that all the time.
Yeah, I mean, I know how that feels to lose somebody you love, so I still can,
Yeah, but I don't work for the Social Security Administration. I should not have. I didn't choose a job to go and work and absorb all this type of pain into my life. You did. I should not be forced to have to watch 20 people die because James Christopher Blackwell don't want to do his job. That ain't what I get paid to do. That's what you get paid to do, but that ain't what I get paid to do. I got paid to file Form 820 and report accurate income and wages to the Social Security Administration. James Blackwell is the one that said he's not going to report it. So somebody, whenever they find that I recorded him saying that he's not going to file it, and whenever they find a way to get that form filed in there, the time period that it wasn't in there, and I said for it to be in there, I want James Christopher Blackwell to be doing that time in somebody's prison and paying back the money he stole. Anyway, this notice came from February the 3rd, 2023 that has changed my... What in the heck is it?
Well, I'm glad you brought it up. I mean, that was February 3rd. Okay, so this came before, it was issued before we processed your hearing request. And since we have a hearing request, this notice is incorrect.
So
we have to continue giving you your payments while you're requesting a hearing. So you're going to get another notice.
Wait a minute. Wait. You skipping ahead. I want to know what the hell made this. I want to know what the hell made this notice come. Maybe we not clear on something. Maybe we not clear. Hold on. Wait. Let me clarify. I have requested one change. A high priority request at the Social Security Administration Baltimore Processing Center that comes in 3 ways: a correction to the application date, income expenses, and an alleged onset date. Nobody has responded to my request for that. Nobody has. There has been no the only changes that come on my accounts that have come on my account since I requested those changes, and I've been requesting this since we spoke back in 2015. Ever since then, I have not. The only changes that have been made were initiated by a regular process that happens with everybody at the Social Security Administration until this. So that means somebody changed something. And I don't have any notice telling me what that change was.
You requested a reconsideration, and then after you requested it and it was denied, we would have had to have a payment agreement for this overpayment. And we don't have one, so that's why you got this letter.
I'm sorry. That's so now y'all call for real, right? Because that's what I said to the Treasury Department. is that there was an inapplicable overpayment waiver on my account, and that I actually owe them money. Like, these people got me. I intended to sign up for Social Security and go back to work. These people got me signed up on Social Security for the rest of my life and expected me to die on what I've been diagnosed with. And they're not even going to tell you about this fraudulent application that they... But when I was reading up on how to report it, it clearly said that the waiver that was being applied to my account didn't apply to me because I was making an underpayment claim. Because it doesn't work out that way. If you're going to judge an overpayment on an underpayment claim, you actually have to review the underpayment claim. And no one has. No one has reviewed my underpayment claim. There has not been one review of my underpayment claim. So that's how you got caught. That's how you got caught, is that someone has claimed that there was an agreement for an underpayment, and it's been on your records all these years. Okay. Well, that's fascinating. That's fascinating.
Like I said, this letter is actually incorrect because we have your appeal request for a hearing.
Well, more things they're hiding from you. It's actually not. I just needed to clarify what was actually happening. The DCN check overpayment check procedure says that this letter is going to come out. I just still don't have any proof that it's been processed. The only way I would know is if you have a use stop on there that has a designation on there waiting for a determination from the Treasury Department. So do you have that?
I saw where you were saying that they had a double check negotiation going on for you. But if it is going on, they haven't placed it on this record.
Yeah, because they gave me presumptive payments, and then they gave me when they started paying me, they didn't reduce my benefit amount from the presumptive payments. You know how they get back if you owe an overpayment, and they waive part of the overpayment, but they didn't waive the full overpayment because there were two payments that were paid prior to me getting the full award. There were two payments that were paid prior to that where I got a benefit check for both of those months, for the presumptive month, and I got that check again after my benefits got started. And because you guys have a system where you don't keep your presumptive payments after 2 years, you don't keep them in your system. And my appeal was actually 2 years after the presumptive payments were made. When they processed it, I guess the Baltimore Center didn't see that I had two presumptive payments that had already been made, and they didn't attempt to recover them.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Okay, well,
It's a lot, isn't it?
it's really not. It's really not. No, literally all it is that this person who submitted this fraudulent application in my name switched the date so that Mississippi, all the applications that were filed after that date, would not have to comply with a provision of the what they call Obamacare that would have required them to expand Medicare and Medicaid. So my application was taken out. I filed it in September, which means I met that qualifying criteria to get all those additional benefits. Those benefits would have expired in October. The attorney did not submit my application until October, after those benefits had expired, which would have made the state end up having to spend more on me enrolling. So and what's even worse than that, it allowed the doctors that were already enrolled as Medicare providers to keep charging whatever price they wanted to charge to Medicare without any government oversight, because they were actually giving me the right and the opportunity to correct my records, monitor it all myself, and do it all myself. But when this attorney filed my application late, all that power went to the state and not in my hand. That's why they keep processing the fraudulent application, because all the liability goes to the state. It doesn't go to me. And and if I die, they'll never get caught. All the money just keeps going to the state. All they need is for me to die. And everybody else and that's not just me. That's every person. I don't know about any other office, but that's every person that would be enrolled in your office. The state would benefit after our deaths. They would receive a benefit check after our death because of the way these processes are going down there. It's sad. So what we get about a week before I hear from the hearing office?
I'm trying to check on those time frames.
Well, I hate to put this on you, but when I look up every morning, I look into black mold. My other option is to sleep outside. And I have been looking into black mold for about 3 years now. And I'm almost certain that whatever is happening, it is cutting off the circulation of oxygen to my brain for that period of time. I get these sinus reactions to sulfur, and the flowers and things are about to pop out a bunch of sulfur again, and I will be faced with either going outside to deal with the sulfur and having an allergic reaction that closes my throat, or coming into a house that is covered in black mold and have an allergic reaction and closing my throat, because the Social Security Administration won't fix my records. None of the Medicare, he's cut off my Medicaid. The Medicare that I get does not provide me with access to the medical provider that I need for my specific diagnosis to stay enrolled in Medicare. So basically what I'm telling you is, if somebody doesn't fix this and I die, it's going to be because you guys are doing what Chris told you to do and not what the law told you to do.
Saying here it could be a couple weeks before they actually let you know they have received the case.
And that's critical payment processing?
That's just that time period that they have to notify everyone of receipt of your request.
It is not.
For a hearing.
No, it is not. The procedure for critical payment processing is just that.
We're talking about your hearing.
Oh, I understand. I didn't request a hearing. Again, I requested my records be corrected. The Social Security Administration office in Starkville is using the appeals process because it's going to pay them more. You can correct my records without me having to go to a hearing or go to an appeal, because my request is in writing in front of you. You just read it. So there is nothing.
That's not our jurisdiction, though. You requested a reconsideration. The next step is to request an appeal, a hearing.
I understand you've been. I can't go back and forth with you, ma'am. The arguments are there. The jurisdiction for correcting my record lies with your field office. Everything that's been.
I didn't say it. Right. I didn't say it didn't. I said before we could be able to correct something or.
I hear you saying that, ma'am. I'm telling you that what I read in the procedure says that what you are saying is false. That the field office's effectuation of the records prior to disseminating them to the other components is what mandates what's going to be reviewed. Like we just did with Miss Neely's. Reviewing the document and seeing it as an overpayment versus going back to what the original appeal said that he's saying all our records were false. If Miss Neely sends it and says that we're going to review it as overpayment, that's how it's going to be reviewed at the hearing office. And the only person that can change what Miss Neely said is Miss Neely. Because when the hearing office gets it and it says Miss Neely said that, the affirmative action that they must take according to the law and according to statute is to do what Miss Neely says until Miss Neely stops saying it. That's just the law. That's the process. And that's how it's been working. That's how it's been working. And you're telling me it's going to work that way again because you have that expectation that well, you said that the corrections can't get fixed until they get it at the hearing office. That's what I heard you say.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. The phone kind of broke up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, that's been the perception. That's what James Christopher Blackwell told me is that he couldn't do Group 2 decision. That he could not effectuate Group 2 decisional deficiencies at the field office because a judge made those decisions. Well, a Group 2 decisional deficiency is an error made by a judge that must be corrected by a field office. So the plain fact that James Blackwell assumes that whatever the judge say is fact for the whole world, just it says to me how easy it was for that attorney to get away with filing these false applications. The process, how process is supposed to work, it just doesn't even seem to ring true to the employees there. It's like, well, I look at when I saw it this way, I wasn't supposed to look back and see what the original was. It's just process does not even seem to ring like a reality coming out of there. But that's all I know is process. All I know is I know that this country, as it has been taught to me, the only way that it works as a functioning republic is for it to be a law, a process to follow that law, and a people to participate in that process. That hasn't been what we've had. We've just had me saying my records were false and someone at the Social Security Administration processing what I was saying was false.
I do understand what your request is stating now. Like I said, when I get to the office Monday, I'm gonna add back, the other part of your request.
What about this forgery thing, though? I mean, you're not seeing anything on there from the who's supposed to check on that?
Check on what now? I'm sorry.
I submitted well. According to this DCN double check negotiation, when I submit Form 1133 to the processing center, the ALJ can't even make a ruling until you get the determination back on there. So who's responsible for checking that?
I'm going to write that down and check into that for you because when like I said earlier, I don't see where you had a double check negotiation. That doesn't mean you don't have one. I just may not be seeing it at the moment. No. I know you're going to say that. I'll tell you, I read the procedure where the Social Security Administration employee gets to tell the person on the phone. I don't see it.
That's why I filed it myself, because James Christopher Blackwell said I don't see it. So I've already
No,
filed
that's
it.
what that's why I said I may just not be seeing it at the moment. I've got to look a little bit deeper into the file and see if there is one, and then I can answer your questions on it. I have to see if we have it.
Okay. So when can I
So
find
make
out?
sure we have it for you.
When
Sir?
can I find out?
I'm gonna look into it for you. I should be able to give you a call like Monday or Tuesday.
Okay. All right, that's really important, because if I need that information, because I'm also about to sue the Treasury Department, because I filed that 1133 for a forgery determination on January the 12th. That means that, I don't know if you know this or not, but the Secretary of Treasury is also manager of the Disability Trust Fund. That means he got his hands, somebody got their hands in two pots. If I'm saying they owe me money out of one pot and the other pot done closed.
Yes, sir.
So,
I get what you're saying, but I have to go, Mr. Rush, because I'm in training at the moment, and my class starts at 1:30.
okay. Well, I look forward to hearing from you Monday. I need to get this check done. And after that, I hope I never have to talk to you again. Unless it's out on personal terms, I can buy you some flowers for being so patient.
Oh, no problem. No problem.
Thank you kindly.